Red pill. Pretty touchy word, isn't it? That is, if a lot of tradcon women freaking out about red pillars and their alleged misogyny are any indication. We hear more frequently than ever that red pillars and what people call the manosphere are simply the male misogynist version of the radfems that these tradcons claim that there are nothing like, they're nothing like them and they have nothing to do with, right? But is that really true? The notion that these tradcons and radfems are nothing alike, and what about that accusation there that being red pill just means being the opposite version of radical feminism? Well, first off, what exactly is the red pill? Let's start with that. What does it mean to be a red pillar? So let's get the incredibly obvious stuff out of the way here. Of course, the red pill comes from the Matrix franchise, and you take the blue pill and you stay in your comfortable illusionary world, take the red pill, and you wake up to the way things are, and so on and so forth. The men's issue sphere took on the term red pill and used it to describe anyone who wakes up to the fact that societal relationship between men and women tremendously stacks it against men and in favor of women. The smart progression forward then becomes the knowledge that we live in a thoroughly gynocentric society. The West is chock full of such gynocentric sentiment, but make no mistake here, the deeper reality is that it's all around the world. Every society has gynocentrism in one form or another, and to one degree or the other. The point I'm making here is that to take the red pill is to realize not only how gynocentrism operates in society, but the stupor is such that we are not supposed to care as much that the men are mistreated, even if it were to happen to ourselves or right before our very eyes. And of course there's the blue pill. In this case it would mean that to take it is to settle or retreat into the comfort zone of meager perceived benefits of conformity and compliance for scraps, for esteem, and maybe reluctantly awarded sexual attention, so long as they remain a overworking cog in the societal framework to provide for and risk death all for the sake of womankind. Some excuses include, this is just the natural order of things, so stop whining, or women are the fairer sex and our better halves, so we have to work to earn their respect. Women are too weak and frail, so we must protect them at all costs, and women are astronomically more valuable than us silly men because they have uteruses, and so we must make sure that everything is perfect for them, even if it takes sacrificing every other male to do it. And very possibly myself, because hey, at least I will be given respect after I'm dead. Alright, let's talk a bit more about the red pill here. What the term has come to mean among the most forward-thinking among us in our men's issue sphere is basically a sense of independence and opening up to the possibility of a worldview or life outlook in which a man need not settle for a life of living to please women, living for the sake of women, or dying for their sake. It's come to mean finding and cultivating one's own purpose in life as a man. Red pill truly has come to mean liberation for those men. In this sense, it is well synonymous, at least in my opinion, with men going their own way, and that is the absolutely most distilled definition of MGTOW, by the way, is male independence and liberated living. I also offer Zeta male as a more refined version of that archetype. So to put it more succinctly, a red pill man is a man who has realized that he can and it's okay to live life for his own ends and off his knees in a society that constantly demands that he mind its place, the place being the ground and being looked down upon. So, having spoken of this and having laid out the meaning of the red pill in the context of men's issues in this way, how the hell could anybody in their right mind, with a semblance of being moral and ethical, people who think they're doing the right thing, actually be against the red pill? Why is that, you might ask? Well, who's against men living free on their own terms? Well, if you watch this channel and pay attention to the men's issues sphere, you know what the answer is. Gynocentrists, of course. Those that demand male altruism for women on pedestals and are the most rampant pandemic level form of collectivists. And the feminists? Well, yes, but that's obvious enough, right? Though I will say that traditional gynocentrists are more directly making a push against these red pill perspectives. But here's a problem for them that's a bit inconvenient. They cannot, at least not while maintaining any semblance of integrity. They can't actually push back against it properly. Tradcons fear the red pill because very possibly they know that if they confront it and its most ardent advocates, they will lose. So what do they end up doing to bypass all that and still advocate for gynocentric, female non-accountable systems in which men shut up and serve? It's simple. Go after lowest common denominator so-called red pillars that are much easier game to gang up against. Let me put it this way. When the likes of Lauren Southern, Lauren Chen, Michaela Peterson, and others attack what they think are red pillars and what they call the manosphere and call them big bad internet misogynists and act like a bunch of college Republicans that take women's studies courses, who are the first people they tend to cite? So you've got the Roll Tomasis, the Fresh and Fits, the Andrew Tates, incredibly easy targets here, right? Easy because of their larger reach, especially Tate, compared to more serious men's advocate entities that deserve more attention. Southern was so eager to scam Rollo that she was 100% willing to make nice with what I think was a feminist, Brittany Venti, to make that happen. Rollo was cocky and self-assured enough that he more than shares the blame for what happened to him. That much is obvious, I think. But that's more case in point that the likes of Southern are willing to go after the likes of Rollo because it's much easier, it's much more of a grift to get their own ends through. A little more on the easy targets here. Now, obviously, I'm not one of those guys that goes all, Andrew Tate is a misogynist, he's an embarrassment to the men's rights movement, or any of the easy grifts that too many in our own movement sometimes fall prey to. And you know who you are who do this. But in all reality, Andrew Tate, for instance, falls into his own bit of gynocentric, male hyperagency, not very red pill at all pitfalls. And I'm not too sure if I'd call Andrew Tate, as he is, a PUA exactly nowadays, but he's still got enough of the trappings for it, and aside from that, he's falling into the same bit of unrealistic expectations about men also. I once saw him complain about how men aren't willing to be superheroes anymore, or something to that effect, which is just more male shaming, not far off from the way Daily Wire handles things, because, a man's got to be a superhero and do superhero things in order to be regarded well, valued, have their life valued even just a bit. I'd be skeptical if he said that he wasn't tending to female scrutiny here. And by that I mean Tate. I'd be skeptical if Tate says, well, I don't care about women. I think women are in his mind when he says things like this. And Rollo's another example, the self-proclaimed godfather of the red pill. This is where we get into some of the characteristics of the low denominator targets that blue pillars tend to want to target. Those who most get associated with the red pill are really just quasi or fully PUA types. And need I remind you that being a PUA type amounts to caring about how much female attention they get, how much they are driven by that and such. More than enough of their product revolves around their constant preoccupation with discussing women by and large. What the red pill actually is to not base your life on what women think of you. In fact, a good red pillar would have the following mindset. Being surrounded by women does not make you a self-made man. It doesn't indicate your personal successes or greatness in life as an individual. We're talking about for your own sake here. You probably did a lot of sucking up and practice needless self-abnegation just to get that attention. And that is not a subject of envy or inspiration. It's the alpha problem all over again. Self-described alphas think they got it all made and measure their worth based on the amount of women they attract. It's all about the women with them. If you don't believe me, well, they'll tell you all day that they're an alpha. They self-label themselves as alphas. And why would you want to advertise that so much if you don't care about that female approval? Because that's what it's all about, female approval here. But equally pathetic as these alleged red pillars stealthing in the blue for a higher attention rate are the tradcon women that buy into the idea that they are the reference points of actual red pill worldviews, either on purpose or due to an inability to figure things out. Rollo may be the one clowning with the whole Godfather, the Red Pill thing, as if he invented the thing, not unlike Anthony Dream Johnson calling himself the president of the manosphere, which is almost believable as him being an objectivist. Spoiler, he's not. However, it's the tradcon women that believe it, or they conveniently make themselves believe it, or so they have just the out they need to attack meaningful red pillars in a blanket kind of a way, and also attack MGTOWs and Zetas who just want to live life on their own terms and not in indentured servitude towards womankind. They need useful idiots to bash on to make their blue pill world that much more appealing. They can't imagine men not on their knees. They can't imagine men not being sacrificial animals. They can't imagine their own womanhood without the idolatry of these men being on their knees, being sacrificial for them. These women, again, the Lauren Southerns, the Lauren Chans, Daisy Cousins, the Sydney Watsons, the Michaela Petersons, and this goes the same for any of the Daily Wire men, the PragerU people, Michaela's own father, even the gynocentric fake red pillars that think false law is something to be taken seriously. They all can't imagine anything far removed from their blue pill existence. Needless to say, there's plenty of blame to go around here. Pseudo red pill is all out there being pseudo red pill, and the tradcons lap it up completely and ignore people who talk about accountability and discuss issues absolutely worth discussing. To them I say, aim for higher denominators, for goodness sake. They think that the red pill is no good. Well, they can tell it to our face directly. They can tell it to AVFM, Paul Elam, XY Crew, tell it to the honey badgers, tell them to all of us. But we already know the answer to this thing. They can't do that. They can't confront us. Their entire shtick collapses if they do, because they're going to get the answer that they don't want but they desperately need. And I think they know that, however much else they don't know, don't want to know, or outright lie about us. Just like the average blue pill man is accustomed to life of being a woman's lapdog, these tradcon blue pill women are too accustomed to their narrative of independent man bad. That's basically how to summarize the anti-red pill sentiment. Independent man bad. Free man bad. Going your own way bad. And they don't want to take it up with us because deep down they know they don't have a case to make. They don't have a case to defend. And to make matters worse, they know that they don't have to. Lack of accountability comes too easy for them. They own up to nothing that they should own up to. They can get away all the time with not confronting people who are actually serious about the subject. So I'm going to add some pointers for the blue pill squad out there to chew on. Goodness knows there's much more to the red pill than they can possibly know right now. But try this on for size. When you act all self-righteous, bashing on red pillars, and all you have to offer is Rollo bad or Andrew Tate bad, and that they're misogynists or whatever, then we know you're full of shit. We do. We know that. So, first off, if that's misogyny, if all that female attention wanting gynocentric alpha behavior equals misogyny to you, then I don't think you can mentally handle if they actually turn to real misogyny. Also, equating complaints about the states of affairs regarding men with being the male version of radfems, because that's what they're doing, by the way. If we complain, that's the male version of the radfems to them. If that's the case, let me ask them something. Who are any of you aristocratic-minded, male altruism-demanding, accountability-deferring, constantly man-shaming, overgrown brats to complain that the red pill and men's rights advocacy is the male version of radfem? With how eagerly you bash men when they aren't making things completely perfect for you women, how eagerly you shame them when your gynocentric demands aren't met, better yet with the likes of Lauren Southern, how eagerly you are willing to buddy up with feminists, well, maybe you're the ones that are the other version of feminism. You tradcons, you're the other version of feminism. Both of your sides are joined at the hip with your gynocentrism here. Tradcons and feminists. More alike than not alike. You people are completely in unison with your disgust with men living their own lives and going their own way, and also holding women accountable. When men hold women accountable or want to, you express disgust of them. When men hold women accountable or want to hold them accountable, you complain. You women on both sides complain. Men on both sides complain on behalf of the women there. That's what they call misogyny, holding women accountable. So imagine complaining about holding women accountable in a world where female non-accountability is so exposed. Oh, you tradcon women insist that you care about men's issues too? Well, that is as laughable as feminists saying feminism helps men too. Both of you share a condition for men that you want to enforce. You only care about men only if they mind their place, mind their betters, and stay on their knees. That's you. I'm accusing you, self-important, holier-than-thou, wannabe traditionalist women. You have no case. You will keep on complaining about men as they continue to walk away from gynocentric women and gynocentric society. You have no wherewithal to actually point to the gynocentric society that you benefit from and to say that it has to stop. You could help stop this, but you won't. You can help stop all this, but you won't. With women like you, who needs feminists, really? Now, before I forget, I'll add this much. To those who claim to be red pill, think about what you went red pill for. You went red pill because you realized that the system was stacked against you, and in it you have to play a stupid game, mostly in the form of shit tests, for anything from basic human dignity to having some semblance of a successful life. Now, what do you do with this information? Do you realize that there is a different and much more fulfilling way of life that doesn't depend on female approval, and you would live that example, live that change? Or do you just consume or peddle junk about how to play the game, how to pass the shit test in the worst way possible, because scoring sex is more important than all that dignity as a human individual being? Now, you realize that latter choice about passing the shit tests and so forth. You realize that is a form of altruistic self-sacrifice, right? It's about tossing your dignity at the altar of womankind in an act of altruism. I know every tradcon, every self-righteous mouthpiece talks about the virtues of self-sacrifice and altruism and selflessness, but guess what? It's incredibly easy to be self-sacrificial. It's actually one of the easier things to do in life. You probably do it every day. The way you give up your own standards to appease others' sensibilities. That's altruism. It's not compassion, it's just self-abnegation. And it's not what I call virtuous. You know what's really difficult? What's the most important thing in life? Not sacrificing yourself. Practicing the opposite of self-sacrifice. Holding on to your own standards, your own vision, what you want for your own life. That's the imperative, and you will find that it's incredibly difficult. It's quite challenging. Personally, in my own mind, that's the proper response to discovering the red pill. What too many are doing while calling themselves the red pill is just hardcore ways to do the blue pill. And if the blue pill tradcon women still have a problem with that, like they are, you should realize by now that something's amiss here. So fuck these tradcon women and actually have a vision for your life. You've only got the one life, after all. Anyway, that's all I have on this video for now. It's kind of rambly, but I kind of wanted to get this stuff off my chest. Especially with the likes of Lauren Chin and Michaela Peterson kind of rambling on as they do about how red pill men are just a male version of feminism. Yeah, no. Again, I've already said what I need to on this video. They have no case. So again, that's all I have on this video for now. There's lots more coming for this channel. Looking forward to getting a few more before the end of the year, hopefully. But in any case, I'll sign off here. Take care, all.